Hi, how are you today? I'm Justina's Country Kitchen, and I'm going to do something different. I'm going to review a cookbook, a vintage cookbook. So the Cooking with the Books and Mary's Nest, they do vintage cookbooks. So I'm going to try. I bought this one. I think it was at Goodwill. It's a 1997 Taste of Home annual recipe. So they have quite a few out there. I have a few, so I'm going to try different ones. So they're really kind of interesting. So it has snacks and beverages, salads, soups and sandwiches, side dishes, main dishes, breads, rolls, muffins, country style condiments, cookies and bars, cakes, pies, and desserts. And then Mom's Best Meal. That one was kind of interesting because it gives a main course, a vegetable, salad, dessert, and drinks. It was really kind of interesting. Editor's meals, meals in minutes, meals on a budget, getting in the theme of things, cooking for one or two, cooking for a crowd. It was really interesting. So I found a recipe I'm going to do. It is blueberry cream pie. So all the recipes are from different people. They say where they're from and who contributed it. So this is from Kim Erickson from Sturgis, Michigan. It is a blueberry cream pie. No, just last week I made blueberry cream bread. But I have blueberries in the freezer, so I'm going to try this. Sounds really good. It's a crust, and then the filling, the cream filling, and then the blueberries that are cooked and put on top. Sounds really good. So I'm going to start with that one, and we'll be back later. Bye. A quarter cup of sugar, 3 tablespoons of flour, and a pinch of salt. And just going to give that a little whisk. And then, I'm reading the directions as I go. You whisk in a cup of half and half until it's all smooth. And I have my hot plate already getting warm here. We're going to cook it on top of the hot plate. And this has to get thick. You just cook and stir it. Just keep cooking and stirring as you go. Alright. Wait for it to get bubbly. So I'm trying to find more of these cookbooks. This one is from 1997. Can you see that? Oh, turn it around. Oh, there you go. They have them by the year. I bought 10 cookbooks weekend before last. All of them pretty old. And I had never really thought about doing cookbook reviews until I looked on YouTube and I found Cooking the Books and Mary's Nest, and there's others that they look for vintage cookbooks. I've been doing it for years. I have so many. And I have my grandma's recipes, what she wrote down. And she didn't always have a recipe. I like the hot plate. I can sit it here so you can see it better. So I'm short on videos last week. I only had one video because the weather. And so I was stuck in Tulsa at my job at a hotel for 3 days so I could be at work. There was a lot of people that were staying there for the same reason. They were close to work. Now I've already baked my pie crust. I brushed it with the egg white or just a beaten egg. Either one works. And I sprinkled some turbinado sugar around the edges just to make it a little bit you know, sweeter. We already don't have it sweet enough. That is starting to cook now. You just keep stirring this because it will get burnt easy if you're not watching it. Here, you think that the cream is really hard to make, but it's really not. You just have to be patient. Okay, it's thick. I'm going to take it off. All right, I'm going to stir it a little bit more. Okay, so we want to whisk half of it into the egg yolks. It is 3 beaten egg yolks. And you don't want to have scrambled eggs, so you want to just do a little bit of it in the egg yolks. And then transfer it all back to the same pan. Okay. Rinse all that into the same pan again. Stir really good. And then you cook that for a little bit longer, for about 2 more minutes. That good yellowy, creamy. One of my very good friends always made cream puffs. I loved her cream puffs. But mostly I just like the cream. Keep stirring that. You don't want it to get thick and lumpy. So just keep stirring, 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 stirring. It is getting very thick. Okay, I'm going to take that off because it is very thick now. I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of butter. And it says 1 teaspoon of vanilla, but I just kind of eyeball that a little bit. And a tablespoon of confectioner sugar. And then whisk that all together. Let this cool in the pan and keep stirring it and stirring it for about 5 minutes. And then we'll pour it into the pie crust. And then next is the blueberries. And that seems to be a little bit more intense. So we will be back. The pie filling has been cooling for about 5 minutes. It's really thick and it's so good. I tasted of it. So I'm going to pour it in the pie crust. All right. Got it all out. And stir it around evenly all over the bottom of this. And then we're going to put it in the refrigerator for 30 minutes to cool the rest of the way and set up. Okay, we're going to start the blueberry sauce to go on top. 2 cups of blueberries in a pan. This is my Pampered Chef. It mashes things up. So you have to mash these up. Crush them the best you can. This thing works great. Use it for hamburger, anything. Make sure those are pretty well Only has to boil 2 minutes. Get that juice out. Okay, it's been boiling. We are going to put it in a pan with the sieves, and we are going to just mash that down to get as much juice out of it as we can. So you need 1 cup of juice and add a little water to it if you have to. Okay. I'm going to set that over here by the sink and see how much juice we have. Almost a cup. I just had to add just a little bit of water to that. All right, so then we're going to take the same pan and we are going to whisk 2/3 a cup of sugar and a tablespoon of cornstarch. Whisk that up a little bit. And then we're going to whisk the juice in. Okay. Then we're going to bring this to a boil for 2 minutes. Let this boil 2 minutes and let cool. And then it'll be the last step. It really hasn't taken all that long to do all this. And if you're a beginner, you just need to just take your time, read the instructions, read them over, just understand them before you start. Always easier, and measure everything out first. That is the most important thing, is to measure everything out first. Okay, this has been boiling for about 2 minutes. We have to let it sit for 15 minutes. The last step is to put the fresh blueberries in the sauce, and then we'll pour it over the cream filling. Crust and the cream filling has been cooling in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes. So now we just stir in the remainder, 3 cups of the blueberries into the sugar mixture. Gently stir. You don't want to mess them up too much. And just stir it until it's all mixed up in the sugar mixture. Okay, that looks good. So then I'm just going to spoon it over the cream mixture. It looks really good. I have a shortcut recipe for a blueberry cream pie, but I wanted to just show you that you could make just a homemade one very easily too. Takes a little longer, but it can be done if you have the time. Just gently spoon those blueberries over the top. Just a little bit more. And you could add whipped topping to the top of it. You're supposed to let this sit a good couple hours before you cut it. Like I said, it takes a little bit longer for this. My pie that I do, the shortcut method, doesn't take long at all. But this one is still worth it. after I did the cookbook review and I made the pie. It did not turn out just exactly right. So my suggestions, if you make this recipe, is when you cook the juice, add another tablespoon of the cornstarch to it. The problem was it never set. I took it off the pie filling, a little bit off of the pie, and tried to fix it. It kind of worked. It tastes great still. So it does not look exactly good.